welcome to Caravan Escapades. I hope everybody's keeping safe and well. Right, this vlog is me changing over the shower tap. Those of you that watched the vlog from when we went away for the Easter weekend in Wales will know that we had a situation where the shower tap was leaking out the bottom, and here is the said shower tap, and I don't know how well you can see this, but basically the water was leaking out of there. The problem I had was that the shower tap was basically in a housing like this. This was fixed to the caravan wall, so I've kind of had to take all of that off. I had to make a temporary repair, but I'll show you all of that in a minute. Now, I kind of did quite a bit of research, and what I've ended up having to do is buy a complete new shower tap. This is the one here. So you can see I basically bought a complete new one, and I've taken the top off, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So, from what I understand and from what I looked at, there's basically a little cartridge that goes inside the shower tap, fits it in here, and that's the thing that's failed. And you're supposed to be able to take those cartridges out and replace those cartridges. For the life of me, I have really struggled to try and get that out. Now, what I did with a bit of research, on some taps there's your little hot and cold indicator just here on the tap, and if you take that cap off, there's a little grub screw. You can take that grub screw out, and then you can kind of lift this away and you can take the cartridge out. What I've managed to do on the other tap, and I'll show you this, is remove this, and there is a screw underneath there, and kind of take that out. So you can see what I did with this one. This is the cap that fits on the top. So I removed the little hot and cold indicator. It was a little bit tricky to get out, and there was a screw in the middle there. Took that screw out and then kind of lifted this away. I mean, this is your tap. Actually, it goes on that way. I even tried, there's nothing behind there to be able to move a grub screw or anything else like that. So I got that out there. And inside here is the cartridge. I mean, the cartridge is in there, but for the life of me, I cannot get this thing separated. If you know how to get this thing separated, then please let me know, because I can get another cartridge and probably make this, excuse me, as a spare one. But I have no idea. I tried every which way I could to get a new, or to get the cartridge out so I can put a cartridge in, because apparently you can get the cartridges, you can get them from camping shops, but you can get the cartridges from the likes of I think it's Screwfix. I did look on there, and they're not that expensive. I think it's a normal sort of cartridge that you get in a normal mixer tap, but I've had to buy a new one, so that's why we kind of ended up going with this full new one. So let me take you inside, let me show you what I've done, and then let's go through me replacing it. Okay, as you can see in here, this is where the shower tap normally mounts, and the fixings go through, or the fixings, what am I saying? The pipes go through there into the bathroom. You can see all this sealant here, which I'm going to have to take off, clean that sealant away and put it away. So those pipes come through a hole up there. I don't know whether you can see that. There's a hole. I couldn't put the camera in there. So yeah, so the pipes come through that hole there and then come down to here, and I made these temporary fixes. So those of you not sure how to use these unions, let me see if I can get the camera set up and I can use both hands and show you how to use them. So I'll try not to get my hands in the way, but these are the push fits. Obviously there's a Y piece here because one bit is going to go up to the caravan tap above, sorry, the sink tap above, and then the other Y piece, so this will be the hot, this side will go through into the shower, and that'll be the cold this side. So the push fits basically, you try and push this little collar down here like that, he says. So sometimes it works better with two hands, there you go, and pull it through. So it's kind of, you can see that piece goes up and down. Once you've got a piece in there, you see how it stands a little bit prouder than this one. So again, same sort of thing, is you push down on here. There we go. So what I'll do is, in fact, let me show you these. These are the, I'm going to keep these safe actually. So these are the little blanks that I made. We were out on site at the time, we didn't have a lot there with us, so basically I took a bit of pipe, folded it over, pinched it up, used a couple of tie wraps, and then wrapped it round with electrical tape. So this is the new tap that I'm going to fit, and they've got these tails on it. Now you'll see inside these tails are actually too short. Once it's gone down through the side of the caravan wall and down, they're too short. I think you can get ones that have got longer ones of them, but they'll make them too long. So what was fitted were these little 2 extra extending tails. So I've got those. Let me show you how to fit those. So what I'm going to do now is fit these 2 tails, the ones that I've just shown you, just so it gives us that extra length, and just show you really how to use these quick release units. So basically you just push it in all the way home, and then just give it a tug back just to make sure that that's in tight. And you can see the ring has lifted up again, so that's locked in place. So that's the hot in the hot, and let's just do the same with the cold. Just again give it a pull up, make sure that's in, and that's in there. So obviously once we put the shower back in, we'll do a proper leak test on that. So what I'm going to do now is basically fit this to this. First thing we need to do is remove this collar here, and there's a seal as well, but the seal wants to, so we've got the locking nut there. I don't know whether you can see there, there's a little seal. Obviously the seal wants to sit inside there and be on the top side. Oh, while I've got this, let me show you something else. I don't know how well you can see this. There's a frost, I don't know whether you can see, just in there, there's a little green pin. Basically that's the frost protection pin. So that's designed that if you do have any water left back in the tap, when the water starts to expand, that pin will break. You can buy those second, oh sorry, not second hand, of course you can't buy them second hand. You can buy those new. I thought that might have been what had gone on the tap, but it wasn't. It was leaking somewhere inside, which again I think is that cartridge. So the frost protection pin is okay, but that's a point to notice. Maybe if you've got a leaky tap, it's after that those cold periods, it might be worth checking that frost protection pin. So basically what we want to do now, we want to take this, feed these through here, making sure that that rubber seal is on that side. Give that a bit of a push, and we'll take this locking ring. Being careful when you're doing this, because this plastic is quite flimsy, and then we want to get that locking ring on there, give that a tighten. You can see there's a bit of plywood on the back there. That's because this plastic, as I say, is quite flimsy, and you just want to help. It's something to grind down. Obviously with moving the tap all the time, it's going to potentially put strain on this bit here, but at least with that piece of wood in there, it will help keep it strong. Oh, and just to note as well, there is a little drain hole at the bottom, if you imagine, when this is inside. So should there be any water leaking in here, it will go through there and fall away rather than sort of sticking inside. So let's make sure we get this all done up nice and tight. So that's kind of, make sure we get that position in the middle. We only really probably want to do this hand tight, or if you're not that particular, because it will swivel anyway. The whole kind of this center piece here will swivel around. That means so you can move the shower bit about. But yeah, you want to give this a good hand tight. Maybe if your grip's not that great, get somebody else just to have a go for you. But that is the tap fitted on there. So what I'm going to do now is go back inside, and I'm going to remove the sealant that's around the edge. So I don't know whether you can see that, we've got sealant all around the edge there. So I think, so we get a good seal before we put it back. That's where the pipes go through. I'm going to remove that sealant. What I'll probably do is maybe try with a little scraper, that sort of stuff, see how well I can get it off. Maybe a little Stanley blade, just trying not to damage the other surface. So I'll be back in a moment. So hopefully you can see this. What I'm going to do in here is just very gently just use a Stanley blade, just to, not really putting too much pressure on, just getting underneath the edge of the sealant, just to get rid of the old sealant. Obviously I don't want to scratch the shower surface, so just being careful there. So I'll get on with that and then I'll show you when I've done. Okay, so I've got most of it off, but there's still a kind of a little bit of a residue left there. In fact, what I've noticed as well is, look, you can see that up there. I think we're going to need to run a new bead down there when we put this back together, but that's another job. So what I'm going to give it a go, I'm going to try and use some of this scratch remover on the top of my Ryobi polisher and just see if we can get any of that out. Now I need 2 hands for this. Try and see if I can film it, but let's see how we get on. It might not work. I don't know whether this is working or whether any of you can see this, but I'm just going to put a bit of, oh, this is a bit runny, this may have gone off a little bit. I've got a feeling this scratch remover might have gone off a bit. It's a little bit runny. It should be more of a paste type of setup. I don't think that's worked particularly great. Let me just try and massage this up a little bit. See if I can get it into more of a paste. There we go. That's a bit better. So that's a bit more of a paste now. Put a bit of that on there. It's probably going to go all over the place. To be fair, in all honesty, that really hasn't done anything other than just kind of clean and polish up that bit. But we've got most of the silicone off anyway. So we should be good to go to fit it back on. So now I'll show you, try and do this one-handed and putting this back together. Now we've got the tap kind of mounted on there again. So I need to feed those through there because this unit's gonna stand up there. Let me just leave that hanging there. So basically the cables have gone through there. You probably see them, there we go. You can see them come out the other side. Let me just mount this camera so you can see those. Right, so these have come through there, so let's make sure we get these the right way round. So we want to do exactly the same thing again. So push that in there, push that in there. Make sure that's nice and tight. We'll check these for leaks in a minute. So that's all this side reconnected now. So we've got coming from the shower tap through into the tails, from the tails down into the bit at the bottom. So what I'm going to go and do now, I need to pull this back a little bit, give me a little bit more on that. So what I'm going to go and do now is I'm going to go and get the screws, remount this on here. You don't need me to show you, or you don't need to watch me put the screws in. So I'll go and mount those screws and then I'll come back to you in a minute. What I'm going to do before I mount it back up actually is run a nice thick bead of sealant around there. I know it didn't have any from the factory, but I think if we just get a bit more in there that might help with things. So I'm going to run some around there now before I fit it up. So as you can see, I've run some sealant around there. Definitely not the neatest, but this is not going to be seen, and when I do put some around the edge I'll make that a lot tidier. So that's it, back in, screw caps on, sealant all run around the edges. I need to just sort of clean that sealant up a bit. Once that's dry, just clean it off the edges. So that's all sealed up there, screw caps are on, and I've sealed that bit up there as well. So all it remains to do now is reconnect the shower and give it a test. Maybe I should have tested it before I sealed it all back in, but it's a straightforward job. I'm pretty confident that it will be all sorted. So I think we have some success. Let's see if it works. So all connected up, water's on. So let's turn it on. You can see it's turned on and we have water coming out the shower, but no water leaking from underneath. So that's hot and cold. So let's leave that running for a moment and let's take a look inside this cupboard. Around there, just check those joints, no sign of any water, they feel totally bone dry. Well done. So I think that's success. So I'm quite pleased with how that's turned out. I suppose a bit fed up that I had to fit a whole new tap unit, because off the top of my head with delivery it came in around about 90 quid. I think the cartridges are probably somewhere in the region of about sort of 15-20 pounds. So, but it is what it is. Now we've got a workable shower once again. If you guys know how to get rid of that cassette, that cartridge from inside the tap that we've got on our 2019 Swift model, let me know, because I'd be really interested. So I'm really pleased with how that's turned out. I hope you guys found it useful. Please give us a thumbs up. Thumbs up always help the channel, so really appreciate that. But thank you very much for watching. Let's leave it there. We shall see you on the next one, but please don't forget to like, subscribe and share, hit that notification bell, and we'll see you soon.